So welcome everyone. This is a workshop in Ketamine State Yoga. Ketamine State Yoga is a collection of practices drawn from many forms of yoga to cultivate mystical type experience and support therapeutic work with ketamine. So this is not a recreational enterprise. Yoga is very serious business. This is a yoga modeled off of Tibetan dream yoga, which is another ancient. This is an ancient yoga of the dream state, a non-ordinary state of consciousness. So the idea is that by working with the same kind of body-mind technology that is applied to the dream state by the dream yogis, that we can work with ketamine in a different way. And that is to say, mostly the therapeutic ketamine approach is to, and I respect this approach, is to work with the person who's trying to heal before the experience, and certainly in the days and weeks and months following the experience. But during the experience itself, as a kind of acknowledgement and respect of the mystery of this altered state, the conventional wisdom is to really do nothing and let the ketamine state be. And I really respect this. I prefer this as someone who has practiced a lot in this state to trying to inject ideas and language and, get people to do things and get the ego to act in the ketamine state. I prefer the hands-off, solemn, encouragement, presence, and things like that. So, but ketamine state yoga is a different approach in that we are actually trying to work with the energies and the character of the ketamine state itself. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Then I'm going to introduce Rob, my collaborator, and then I'll launch into the teachings. There will be, as in that PDF, I'm going to attach it again because a bunch of people have just joined. I will teach practices that are specifically for different phases of the journey. And this is how I utilize them. But really, you are accumulating a toolkit of practices. And these practices are designed for the ketamine state in the same way that a dream yoga practice is designed for the dream state. When the dream yogis were working, they were working within the dream, practicing within the dream, of the wide collection of yoga practices, experimenting with the dream state in order to draw out the healing and spiritual powers of the dream state. So the goal here is to do the same thing with ketamine. These, as you'll see, these practices come from my own experience and shared brainstorms with other ketamine practitioners. So a little bit about me, then a little bit about Rob, then we'll launch into the practices, and I will try to leave time for discussion and questions. We will do some practicing this evening. Your yoga practice is just presented in words is one thing, but to actually spend some time with it is really where it happens. So we're going to be doing some actual practices. I'll try to leave some time for discussion at the end, but I will also be mindful of people's time and be efficient in conveying these teachings. So I really will try to wrap up the teaching portion of the evening in an hour. So, all right. So a little bit about me. Henry Kandel. I teach science and yoga. I've been practicing many forms of yoga for 30 some years. And as I really discovered fairly recently, I have been using yoga, and there's nothing wrong with this, in order to feel better. I had depression and anxiety. Many people can relate for many, many years, going back into my earliest childhood memories. So I was just a very, a struggling person, despite the fact that I did hold down a job and I made some progress and I participated in art and music. I was always deeply depressed. And I had a transformative experience with ketamine about 7 years ago. It was unexpected. The context is I had a friend who was dying of cancer at the time, and we were spending a lot of time together, talking philosophy, talking about dream yoga. And he had some transformative experiences with ketamine that were for very gory medical procedures. So this is not like set and setting. You go into a modern ketamine clinic like Rob's, and there's beautiful music, and the setting is meant to be very spiritually supportive. This is like, very clinical. We got to saw into your bone, and it's going to be very painful. So we're going to give you a ketamine for that. And I still remember his texts from the hospital, and they were very, confused, but also quite ecstatic. And some of the things that we have been talking about in terms of these Tibetan yogas really came across, particularly the emphasis on the throat. I remember getting a text from him from the hospital, and it was just the throat, as he experienced this tremendous release of all this energy in that part of his body, despite the illness. So he gave me some ketamine to explore, knowing that I was scared of psychedelics and had always avoided them because of too much trauma in the body. Some people can relate to that. People who have experienced mushrooms or ayahuasca, and other folks attest to the healing powers, and you're just writhing in pain the whole time. There's just too much. So I had avoided psychedelics. But I was curious about the mind, curious about consciousness. I taught some cognitive science classes about consciousness, so I was very interested. A person, I teach physics, who's into physics is going to be into consciousness. So I was curious, but scared. And he gave me some of this ketamine to explore, and I was extremely cautious. I took tiny little bits of it. Because I'm a science teacher, I knew to measure the dosage, and it was, very, 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 very gentle. And I had these subtle experiences in my meditation cushion, maybe going a little bit deeper, maybe feeling a little bit more relaxed than ordinary, but nothing remarkable. And then one day, about 7 years ago, I spent the afternoon with my friend, and his illness had progressed further, and it was really wrenching and very emotional. And I came home to my meditation cushion, and I took too much ketamine. I suppose I might have been feeling a little bit reckless. Maybe you could say this was predestined. So the come up was extremely steep. For those of you who know the medicine, I within a few minutes I was thank you. I was losing language, and words didn't make any sense. And I was trying out words in my mind, like my friend's name, and they sounded very strange. And then I started to try my own name, and it sounded really strange, like it was going to disappear. And I had the surge of fear, confusion and fear, in a sense of I should call my wife, you scream, call the emergency, get an ambulance. I need to get to the hospital. I took too much ketamine. But I knew that it wasn't dangerous. I knew that the dose was a safe dose because, again, I teach science. It's not hard to figure out. So I thought I made a fateful decision to ride it out. And I said, okay, I think I can do this. I'm in the dark in my meditation room on my cushion. I'm 48 years old at the time. I've practiced a lot of yoga. I think I can handle this. So within a few minutes, I had no idea who I was or even what I was. That is to say, not just like I'm someone, but I'm a person, not a person, nothing, no language, no concepts. And the pranayama, the yoga practice that I had been doing very diligently for years to feel better in a painful body just came. Decades of practice, and it was instilled in my body. And this practice of this deep yogic breathing, it's called pranayama, just was happening in this space. And I mean, to say happening, I have to put it in weird language because it wasn't like me making a decision to have it happen. If you've had a really deep psychedelic experience, you know this. It's sometimes called ego death. I don't like the phrase. I don't think Rob does either. But it's something like there's no sense of being anything. So therefore, no sense of saying, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do this practice. Some of the things I teach this evening that are meant for potentially higher dose therapeutic experience where you don't have any agency, you don't know who you are, they're designed to do the same thing that happened to me, which is to say, be built into the body mind in such a deep way that they can happen even when there's no you to make them happen, even though, again, the language is weird. So I'd also been practicing loving kindness, which is to say a feeling of openness in the heart center, and that came too. And there were just these feelings hard to put into language of like universal love, a sense of connection with everything, a sense of unity, not me having this experience, but just in the experience like that of reality. Um, and also death, also a sense of just, oh, like really understanding everything is going to die vividly, and that being like inseparable from the love. It's like, there's no language, but the sense is everything is in love, everything is in death, everything is dying, everything is therefore deeply lovable. Thank you. So, a language came back, my identity came back. It was probably 3 hours later, and I felt changed. I felt like my depression was gone. And like in its place was all this confidence and this energy that before, if you know depression, it's a clenching, holding, stuck place. And I had just been there forever because of childhood experiences that I had to escape from by clenching up. And and it was a release, and it was enormous amounts of energy, a tremendous amount of love, confidence, and a sense of like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, what just happened? So that's really the end of the origin of Ketamine State Yoga story. I sought out about a year later. My friend had died. I went to a psychiatrist and told him, I said, I'm not depressed anymore. It's like weird to be, I've been depressed my whole life. I'm not depressed anymore. A year ago, I had this transcendent experience with ketamine where in the yoga language, I saw my true nature. I knew something very deep that can't be put into words. And I'm still flowing with it, but I realize there's all this trauma here. I want to work with it. I want to practice in the ketamine state. So I'm not depressed, but I want to work on trauma. Can you prescribe to me? And he did. So for the last maybe 5 years, I've been, every month or so going into the ketamine state, revisiting that state and exploring practices. And about 3 years ago, I would say, I had felt a very strong inspiration. I felt like it was the presence of one of my teachers, a 20th century yogi named Ramana Maharshi, who I never studied directly under, but was very moved by. And I felt like he was giving me the message you have to teach because there's too much benefit, too much beauty. And even though it's weird, ketamine state yoga, you have to get out there and share with people. So I started to do that. So for the last few years, I've been teaching and learning, and I've along the way met people like Rob. So before I get into the practices, let me introduce Rob Matthews. Rob is also, I would consider a Ketamine State yogi, a yoga teacher who also has extensive experience guiding people in clinical ketamine journeys. So, Rob?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Henry. Hi, everyone. My name is Rob Matthews. I've been a psychedelic explorer for more than 25 years. I'm also a board member with the Psychedelic Yoga Research Collective, led by Henry, that in part organizes these events. I'm based in Pasadena, California, where I co-founded Pala Medicine, PALA, which is a ketamine infusion clinic, along with my wife, who's a physician. As Henry mentioned, I'm also a yoga practitioner and I weave in breath work, meditation, and yoga philosophy frequently to support my clients' integration work. Our clinic has seen hundreds of clients over the past few years, and I've personally supported more than 1,500 psychedelic journeys with ketamine specifically so far. And I think that ketamine as a psychedelic medicine has many favorable characteristics. For one, it's currently the only legally available psychedelic in all but 2 states, although that is fortunately changing. And ketamine is a beautiful medicine. Its unique signature and effects make it an ideal complement to yoga and vice versa, which is really the theme for all of what we're going to be talking about and practicing this evening. So I'm thrilled to see all of you here and to see your interest in psychedelics and yoga. So it's great to be here as well. Thanks. Back to you, Henry.
Thank you, Rob. I want to make one disclaimer before I start. If you are engaging with therapeutic ketamine, I suggest you talk with your therapist before practicing this form of yoga. Um, I suspect that used properly, it will support virtually any form of therapeutic practice. And that said, does not require ketamine. I'm teaching you yoga. So this is yoga curated, adapted, and designed for the ketamine state specifically, but it is yoga, so it's meant to balance your body, mind, and breath. It's meant to bring joy. It's meant to remit depression, all those things. So it will be supportive in general of therapeutic work. But the reason I suggest talking to a therapist is powerful medicine. To have a mystical experience is to be face to face, like I said, and I'm just grabbing words, but like love, death, universal, oneness or whatever. There, it's not like a flood of pleasure over the body. It's not like it's out of the context of pleasure and pain. It's not like achieving something that automatically makes everything simple. For me, it began a deep journey into my trauma, which meant encountering things that I had blocked off for many decades. So I would suggest being cautious and consulting, if you have a therapy process, to consult your therapist and say you'd like to work in this mind-body way or would like to explore it. Okay. So first, the integration and preparation aspects of this work, which is modeled on Tibetan dream yoga. And I'm going to invite you to practice with me. So find a comfortable seat. These practices can also be done lying down. An invitation to close the eyes or close them part way and allow the breath to completely exhale. Just completely let go of the breath and let it really land. And then inhale, feeling the breath come in from the belly. So feel your belly swell. And then when you reach the top of the breath, sigh the breath out, drop the jaw, and just allow the breath to go all the way out. Okay. This complete release of the exhalation is probably the most important part of the ketamine state yoga practice. Ketamine simulates near-death experience more than any other substance. This is attested to in a 2019 semantic paper that looked at some 200 substances and the corpus of near-death experience reports and found that ketamine was the most resonant with this very, very mystical state that many traditions like dream yoga have sought to draw out the spiritual and healing powers of. So the complete release of the exhalation, when you exhale, just really letting the breath go. It sounds so simple, but a lot of what holds the anxiety body, the pain body together, the painful aspects of the ego together is an unwillingness to completely just let go of the out-breath. And in the ketamine state particularly, there is this opportunity to really let the breath go. And when you let the breath go completely in the ketamine state, you learn how to do that. And then in the waking state, that is to say the rest of your life, to use the term from dream yoga, you now know what it is to just let the breath go. It sounds so simple, but believe me, if you bring your awareness to what's going on in the course of a day, and it's fraught, and it's stress-laden, and it's difficult, at that moment, when you're dealing with all that shit, the breath is seized. The breath is not deep. The breath is clenched. And you say, well, it's all this shit I'm dealing with in the external world that's causing these unpleasant emotions, that's making me clench my breath. But if you were to have a breath practice, and that practice had very big, important moments, like peak ketamine journey moments associated with it, then it becomes available and you can just let the breath go. And those who work with breath, like in James Nestor's New York Times bestselling book, this is not a plug, Breathe. he learns through his exploration that it's not the inhale. It's not like you're when you feel tense and somehow like you're really jittery, but also don't have energy. Depression and anxiety sides of the same coin. So you know that experience of like I'm jittery and I have too much energy in the form of anxiety, but I don't have enough energy to do what I need to do. And that right there is not because you're not getting enough air. If you said to the person, what's going on with your breath, who's talking like this, they might say, I'm not breathing enough. But no, they're not releasing enough. The most important thing about this practice is releasing the exhalation. Okay, so we go through the day and the opportunity to practice at any point in the day. If you're starting out, I would not overdo it. I would choose, like, say, I'm going on a walk through the park. I'm going to practice this yoga. This is modeled on dream yoga. So the dream yogi, in their chosen periods of practice, they go through the day and they say, this is a dream. So this cloud is a dream. This tree is a dream. That truck is a dream. Inside the building, this elevator is a dream. And they cultivate a sense of not just the dreamlike magical nature of reality, but also that you let go of it because a dream passes, it ends. So I suggest, and you can do this with me right now if it feels right, is put the hand on the heart center. Put the hand on the heart center. And when you do these reality checks, and you could say either this is a dream, or if that feels too much like it's referencing the night dream, or the practice feels metaphysically weird, you can simply say, I am. I am. So you look at something, the tree, you say, I am. And you feel it in the heart center, and you inhale from the belly, and then you let go. You let go of this temporary moment. Okay? Very important to bring the body and the breath into this. Any integration process that is going to draw out the extended benefits of a psychedelic experience or any life practice is going to be breath and body connected. So I invite you to, in your space right now, just allow your eyes to move around. And when you see something that your eyes land on, draw that inhale deeply from the belly. Have your hand at your heart center or your belly. Some people like to support the belly with a practice like this. And reach the top of the breath and say, I am. This moment. Feel the moment. Exhale and just let the breath go all the way out. Let the exhale go. Okay, turn to another object. I'm now looking at my water bottle. Inhale from the belly. Hand on the heart center. I am. This. Exhale and let the moment go. So moment by moment. And practice with me. Looking around your room. Try to find that magical quality in things when you say, I am. Inhaling from the belly. And exhaling and just letting the breath go all the way out. Invitation to close the eyes or close them part way. Wherever you are in your breath cycle, exhale fully. Inhale deeply from the belly. And as you exhale, drop the jaw and let the breath go. You can sigh if you like and just let the breath go, go, go. And see if you can let a little more air go. Really let it go. So that practice, this model on dream yoga. So the dream yogi, I'll tell you the principle. It's very simple. The dream yogi is practicing this way in what they call the waking state. So again, in short periods, the dream yogi might do it 24/7. You just do it here and there. So on my way to work, that bicycle is a dream. That person walking her dog is a dream. That tree is a dream. But you don't just say it. If you just say it, this is a dream, this is a dream, this is a dream, it's flat language. Remember, in the ketamine state, language might morph or disappear entirely. So instead, it is felt. When I'm practicing dream yoga and I say that dog is a dream, I say that dog is this, that's a dream. And I inhale from the belly and I really feel the sacred, temporary, in death, in love, nature of that dog or whatever the thing is I'm looking at as I let the breath go, as I let go of it. Okay. So in the dream yoga, you practice like that during the waking state. This is a dream, this is a dream, this is a dream. And then that mental and physical and breath connected practice emerges in the night dream because you have now made it into this self-supporting, energetic practice. So in the night dream now you're in your night dream and you just, because you made it into a habit, you say, oh, this is a dream. Oh, and then you realize you're having what's called a lucid dream. You're aware that you're dreaming. Okay, there's a marked shift in awareness that happens with lucidity in the dream state, and I can attest to it being very physical. It's like you're suddenly like in a lucid dream, and suddenly you're like, there's energy and a surge. My daughter, who's a great dream practitioner, says it's like a surge of adrenaline, but it's not unpleasant at all. It's just like pure excitement at that level of awareness having been dialed up. And it's like you did that moment, you did not take a drug, nothing dramatic happened. You were in the dream and you realized you woke up in the way that Buddha said, walking out of the forest after, years of meditation, said, I'm awake. So that's the kind of a sharpened awareness that you cultivate when you practice that way before the ketamine journey and after the ketamine journey. So there's a lot of talk about integration, which means taking the benefits of a psychedelic experience and bringing them to life so that you're not just like, yeah, I feel good when I'm under the influence of something, but you're trying to improve the general life flow and results in the actual life. So integration techniques, okay, need to be generally breath and body connected. It's like you cannot say flat language and have me remember something important in the ketamine state because I probably didn't have language in that state or may not have, depending on dosage and experience. Even if I had language properly is muted, it's quieter, it's letting you experience yourself as a breathing, embodied being. So the integration practice refers to the body and the breath, and it need be no more than one simple deep inhale from the belly, a release. If it feels uncomfortable, go to the heart center of the belly. You could even just hold your own hand, some kind of embodying element that you utilized in the ketamine journey. Because now it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, and the anxiety came back because it will. And the ordinary mind came back because it will. It's robust. And you get into the same habits, mental habits, and churning up a lot of stress, and maybe external world's churning up a lot of stress. And you're like, God, I had that ketamine healing journey 2 weeks ago. Where is its magic now? And in that journey, you practiced with the awareness like that. I am. Or this is a dream, if you'd like to use the dream yoga. Nothing wrong with that. In a connected way, connected with the body, just one deep breath, and you will return. Your neurology, your learning capabilities will point back at that moment 2 weeks ago and access it, or at least have the potential to access it. So a lot of practitioners, a lot of ketamine healers are using music to do this. Many of you, I'm sure, have working with therapeutic ketamine have had the experience. The music is very powerful in the journey. And then 2 weeks later, again, ordinary life came roaring back, and you're like, how can I access some of that magic? And you turn on the same music, and then suddenly your neurology goes, oh, ah. So that yes, and to that, you can do that too. But this practice is very simple, based on dream yoga. It's just taking stock of your world. I am, or this is a dream, with the somatic aspect, the feeling, and the breath unified like that. Okay. So now I'm going to move to the main practice of Ketamine State Yoga. There's a lot of stuff in Ketamine State Yoga. I've been practicing for a long time, and there's a lot of very esoteric and complex practices too. I'm keeping it super simple. So this is a breath practice, okay, that you can use during the come up of the trip. You can use it during the peak. And if you are, again, people are working with it in different ways, but if the way you're working with it is therapeutically is a fully dissociative dose, then you might think, well, no practice is possible. But if you build it into your memory in a certain way, it can happen even when you're not really there as a concept or a separate being or whatever, like happened to me. So this is that. I'm teaching the central pranayama of Ketamine State Yoga in a very simple form. Okay? So it is a series of these deep diaphragmatic breaths. Diaphragmatic means the belly swells like a balloon. There's no shoulder or upper chest movement, although when the belly swells to a certain point, it will bring the rib cage along with it. It starts from the belly. And if that breathing doesn't come naturally, I would suggest practicing it. If you watch a young baby breathe, so relaxed, the belly is relaxed, and that's where the breath happens. So get down into the belly. We do 5 of these deep diaphragmatic breaths in rapid succession. I'm going to use pursed lips rather than the nose just for greater airflow. So the goal is to be very robust, to really take 5 very deep, rapid breaths. Inhale deeply from the belly, exhale, letting go. So inhale, exhale, let go. Inhale, exhale, let go. 5 of them. And then on the 5th and final breath, we just follow the breath all the way out. Allow our lungs to completely empty, puff of air by puff of air by puff of air. Just keep going, because there's always a little air left. So you're playing with this total surrender of the breath at the bottom. Having taken the 5 deep belly breaths, your blood has extra oxygen in order to support that complete release at the very bottom of the breath. For those of you who have heard of Wim Hof, he's a nutty Dutch yogi who has a similar, it's a way more intense practice like this, along with cold exposure, which is also really cool. But this is not, it has a little bit of the same element. You're raising the oxygen, then you're releasing the breath, and you're allowing the breath to completely leave your lungs. There's no pushing. It's an aspect of total surrender. The breath goes a little more, a little more, a little more, and you just rest on empty or near empty for as long as you can. I would not go to a point of great discomfort holding the breath, but when you're practicing, you can allow it to get to a point of like bypassing the desire to breathe, just with awareness, just letting the breath go a little more before you let the inhale rush back in. In my experience in the ketamine state, when the breath rushes back in after a long passive retention of the breath at the bottom, there's no words. I can say that in terms of the sensory experience of the ketamine state, it gets more vivid and wild than ever. The hallucinations, I'm journeying in the dark normally. So there are wild tunneling hallucinations going on in the visual field. And when I allow the breath to settle at the bottom for a long time, just rest on empty, and then the breath surges back in and the energy returns like that circulating in the body, the subjective experience of the ketamine journey gets absolutely wild. And also the sense of being this detached observer. In spiritual traditions, it's called the witness, and it's unfolding, and it's the universe, and it's absolutely bizarre, and you're just in this place of stillness and quiet with compassion watching it. So that this breath cultivates that aspect. In Dzogchen, thank you, which is a mystical tradition of Tibet, it's often referred to as death and rebirth. You surrender to death with the exhalation. You let the breath go, and then when the inhale comes back in, they say new body, new speech, new mind. And in the ketamine state, nothing is more profound than this practice, in my experience. So I'm going to demo it once, and then we'll practice together. Again, it's 5 very deep diaphragmatic breaths in rapid succession, followed by a final exhalation that I don't push. I just let go, let go, let go. I'm going to drop the jaw, sigh the breath out, and let it land. And then I'm just going to rest with empty lungs or near empty lungs for a long time before the breath surges back in. It feels wonderful. You can practice this in the waking state, and and I'll also say that this improves gym performance. If you're not here for the ketamine state yoga, you just want to do more, run more miles. This pranayama is very, very powerful. Okay, so here I go. So that's the practice. It's dusty in this basement room. Allergies. So let's practice together. So 5 very deep belly breaths. Inhale, belly swells like a balloon. Exhale, let the breath go. 5. And then on the 5th and final exhalation, just see how you can let that breath go and go and go and go all the way to the bottom. So find a comfortable seat. You can also do this lying down. Wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. We'll just do one warm-up breath. So inhaling from the belly all the way to the top. And now this one, just let go slow, relax the face, relax the jaw, throat, shoulders, chest, belly. Breath is all the way out. Let it go. Let it land at the bottom. And here we go. Deep as you can from the belly. Let it go. 2, 3, 4, 5. And let it disappear. And then when the breath rushes back in, invitation to keep the eyes closed for a few more moments and just feel, scan the body, the forehead, the throat, the heart center, belly, groin, and bowels. And just feel how it feels in the internal weather system to do that pranayama. So if that will be very supportive energetically on the come up. So when the medicine is building, it takes 30 seconds to do. If you want to do it in series, if you want to do more than one of those, I would recommend just being peaceful and relaxing and letting go of the breath and just allowing the breath to be very soft at the bottom for a few minutes and then practice it again if you're so moved. And it will support the experience of the ketamine journey. It will provide this energetic balance that's both building energy and relaxing. You can feel the balancing effects of it. And if you want it to be able to persist and continue, even when, if you're headed toward regions that are so dissociative that you don't have any sense of agency, you don't have any sense of counting to 5, for example, then what you need to do is build it into your body mind with multiple senses. So 5 is a great number because there's a rhythm to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can listen to that rhythm when you're practicing. You can feel the breath in your belly. You can feel the breath in your throat. You can feel the breath swooshing into your mouth and out of your mouth. So you're sensing a rhythm, you're feeling the sensations of breathing, and you're listening to the sound of the breath practice all at the same time. Okay? If you really want it to be a useful tool and 5 seems too much, it feels like 5 you can't really distill into a little like musical nugget, like a little piece of breath music that has a rhythm to it that you like the sound of, then lower it down to 3, you know, and make it into your own little breath melody. That's very powerful. So as everyone attests to the power of music in the ketamine state, you can make the breath into your personal musical thing and practice that way. And the more musical you make it, the more likely, just like you don't need to think when there's an earworm stuck in your head, you're singing something automatically. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, despite having gone through dream sleep, the deep sleep stages and all the dreams, and you're still humming that tune because it's in the body. So you're training yourself to breathe in a way that can just take over when there's no you counting the breaths or managing the process, a complete letting go. So if you want that access, it is necessary to practice. If you don't practice and you get to the ketamine journey time, the breath practice will be very supportive of your energetic balance going into it. So I recommend that one for the come up phase of the journey. Okay. So I am going to now teach the come down practices, and I will wrap up the teaching portion in about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to invite Rob to pitch in with anything from his clinical experience that is, intersects with this. And we can also take questions at that point in the messages. You can put them in the chat or raise the Zoom hand about any of these practices. So I'm teaching them in simple form, but there's a lot of depth and nuance. So I would love to receive your questions and also your own experiences working with ketamine for healing and spiritual work. Okay, so the come down. So this is after the medicine is peaked, which might be a fully dissociative peak or not. And you're now settling back into more of an ordinary mind. Okay, the dissociative power of ketamine is still with you and will be for some time. There's some neuroplasticity, as they say, in the wake of the most dramatic aspects of the experience. So ketamine's dissociative power makes it, paradoxically, so that you have tremendous awareness of what's going on in your body. So I'm going to teach 3 very simple somatic awareness practices. They have to do with the body and the awareness of the body. And these will go great with if you're doing inner child work or some cognitive-based therapy practice, to get the body on board by bringing it into deep awareness will support those things. So the first thing is a 3-chakra scan, and we've already really done it, but let's do it again. So invitation to take a comfortable seat, and wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. And bring the awareness to your third eye point right in the middle of the forehead, and just hold the awareness there. And then as you inhale from the belly, really bring that awareness to that third eye point. And then as you exhale, just letting go, feel all the tension in that area dissolve. Just feel a complete letting go of the forehead, the muscles around the eyes, the brow. Okay, so let's try that again. Settle the breath at the bottom, let go. Bring the awareness to the third eye point at the forehead. Inhale from the belly with awareness at that point, really feeling that point. Reach the top of the breath, and then as you exhale, just letting go, feel everything in that third eye area completely dissolve into deep relaxation. And really let the breath go all the way out to get the tension all the way out. Return the breath to normal and feel how that feels in that area. Bring the awareness now to the throat. Consciously relax the jaw. The throat is very big in dream yoga. Very big. It's a very important chakra. So wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. Let the breath go all the way out. Now inhale from the belly with awareness at the throat. And you reach the top of the breath, drop the jaw, sigh the air out. You can even make an audible sound as the breath goes, and all the tension leaves the throat and jaw as the breath goes out. One more time. Inhale deeply from the belly, awareness at the throat. And as you exhale, drop the jaw, and as the breath goes, let all the tension, all the minute holding in the throat area completely let go. Breath goes all the way out. Return the breath to normal. Feel how that feels. And now bring the awareness to the heart center in the middle of the ribs. We hold so much here. If you practice the waking state practice, you got good at really feeling your heart center. So hold the awareness at the heart center. Wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. And now inhale deeply from the belly with awareness at the heart center. And as you exhale, feel everything open. Just all of this letting go, this opening sense in the heart center, space. Breath goes all the way out. One more. Inhale deeply from the belly, awareness at the heart center. And exhale and let all the tension, all the holding, all the minute little feelings in that area completely dissolve as the breath goes all the way out. Return the breath to normal and feel how that feels inside the body at the heart center. And allow the breath to exhale fully. Inhale robustly from the belly, opening the eyes. And here's the final set of practices for the come down, where paradoxically, you're taking this dissociative medicine, and paradoxically, as many people report, there's a heightened awareness of the very intricate, subtle things going on in the body. Spoiler alert, that's your ego. You thought your ego was made all of thoughts, and the thoughts are part of it, but there's also all this holding and clenching and stuff going on all the time. So you're practicing with these areas of the body, the chakras, nothing esoteric, just places where there's a lot of awareness. The forehead, the throat, and the heart center. Again, just like the integration practices, just like the preparation practices, this is a dream, feeling in a part of the body where there's a lot of feeling, and taking that deep breath from the belly, and then the most important thing, allowing the breath to completely leave the body. Exhale fully. So here's another triptych, a little 3-part practice, and we'll do it together. It's fun, it's interesting and cool. It will support many, many things, and I find it to be excellent during the long tail of the ketamine come down, when we're working with, we have a body again, we have an identity, and we're back to, let me work on some of the things I've been working on, whatever that is for you. So bring the awareness to the hands. This is about the hands and the body. So one of the great things for me coming down from ketamine is realizing that I have hands again, and just how wondrous they are. An incredible gift of working intentionally with ketamine and bringing these body-mind practices to it is that you come back into a sense of the absolute bizarreness, the strangeness, and the beauty of everything. That ordinary life just tamps down, not nefariously, but just because that's what you can't be, amazed at the full moon when you're crossing the street. You need to kind of have your wits about you, and things have to be humdrum. So to be able to get that sense of wonder back is tremendously healing. And it happens in the come down with this just recognition of how strange everything is. So the hands are very strange. So they really are very, very strange. Next time you, well, I was going to say your dog. I don't know if my dog is really smart enough to notice how strange the hands are, but they are very strange. So bring the awareness to the hands. We'll do this together, very simple. So inhale and open the hands extra wide. Inhales deep from belly all the way to the top. And then as you exhale, just do a little air grab with kind of firmness. Exhale, air goes all the way out. Inhale, open the hands, spread the fingers. Exhale and do a little air grab and just firmly come into your strength and your determination. Exhale fully. Inhale from the belly, open the hands. Exhale and this air grab, bringing the hands into a firm but not tight fist. Okay, one more. Inhale from the belly, open the fingers, spread the fingers, even curl them back if you can. And then this time, as you exhale, bring the hands into the strength mudra. So now we have our hands clasped, knuckles at about nose level. Shoulders are actually relaxed. Forearms are making about an equilateral triangle. An invitation to close the eyes or close them part way and just give a soft gaze to your clenched hands and feel your own motivation. Feel your own determination to squeeze a little tighter. Feel your determination as a distilled thing separate from any of your worldly plans. It's just you and your own strength. Let's take a deep inhale from the belly. And as you exhale, squeeze just a little bit tighter and hold the firmness, feeling your own determination, your own motivation as the breath goes all the way out. One more. Deep inhale from the belly. And as you exhale, keep the shoulders relaxed, but tighten the grip just a little more. It can start to be actually effortful and land the breath at the bottom, and then release the hands and take the final practice of this evening from me, the self-hug. So take this animated blood flowing in the sense of sinew, sense of strength in the fingers, and bring it now to grab your own arms, your own shoulders, and give yourself a hold. And just sit with that as you breathe. Invitation to close the eyes if it feels right, and feel what it feels like. You can tighten the grip a little bit if it feels right. You can do some pats. Or even give yourself some love. So in the ketamine state, this is dissociative, and this means that the action of a hug, when you do it to yourself, just like you can't tickle yourself, it's dampened. Yes, you never wonder, you can't tickle yourself. Most people can't tickle themselves. So the dissociative action of the ketamine may allow you to tickle yourself. That's interesting. I wonder if anyone's explored that. But it will allow you to derive from a hug more than you would get normally from your own self hug, because you will perceive it partly as it's coming from you, it's being received by you. The dissociative has sort of separated those things. You are the agent who's giving the hug, you are the one who's receiving the hug. And I find that to be extraordinarily helpful. I've been doing a lot of inner child work in my healing journey, so I find that to be just tremendously supportive. And I also thank you. I also think that if you're having difficulty during any stage of the trip, difficulty, anxiety, confusion, and you have this set up, and you warmed up just once with it before the journey, you warmed up just once with this sense of your own determination and the sense of valuing yourself and taking care of yourself, it is much more likely in the depths of the experience that it will be available to you. Just like it's more likely, if you practice well, that you're going to be able to lean into the breath and take those deep diaphragmatic breaths, even when the ketamine peak is washing over you, and let the breath go and have that really extraordinary experience of complete surrender of the exhalation in the ketamine state. That's really what it's all about. It's really about surrendering the breath in the work. So, all right, recap. Daytime practices, which means in the dream yoga language, waking state practices. You can do them anytime, and they support the journey. So if you did the strength mudra at any point in the ketamine journey, you now have an integration tool because, 5 days later, 5 months later, and you're like, what was that aspect of like peace of mind and confidence and energy I felt oh yeah, there it is. And if it's connected to the breath and connected to the body, it's much more likely to be in here and to come forth in your life the way you need rather than a label of some words. So the waking state practices, the integration practices are everything. All right. So I'll turn it over to Rob now. And then when Rob, when you would like, we can open the floor to questions and participation.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I won't be too long here. I just wanted to make a few notes about some of my reflections on sound and yoga and ketamine in particular as a psychedelic. So thank you for guiding us through those practices. I think that they're an incredible resource for people to use when, supporting all facets of their psychedelic work. So like I said, I'm just going to briefly share some thoughts. In yoga meditation, one typically begins by taking a comfortable seat and regulating the breath, and then ultimately withdrawing from the senses of this world, a process known as pratyahara. And the purpose being to open the space of consciousness in a way that's untethered to the noise of our physical reality. And in a deeply psychedelic ketamine journey, we also typically withdraw from the senses, often very profoundly to the point where we can't feel our physical body, at least. Often still we're in touch, as Henry mentioned, to our energy body and other ways of knowing, but usually profoundly disconnected from the physical body. We also withdraw from other senses like using light blocking eye masks and noise canceling headphones, things that help keep the outside out. But there's one sense that we definitely do engage, and that's sound. Sound, as also was mentioned, is well documented to play an important role in this work. And there's lots of theories around this. It can be directive, but we use sound in a non-directive way, more as an energizer of the experience than something that's meant to control or guide it. Um, and we use sound at all three stages of a session. First, as a client is about to begin a journey, I typically will play sound bowls while guiding a brief breathwork and body scan meditation, again, promoting relaxation and being present in the moment. During small group ketamine sessions, we'll ask our participants to write their intentions and fold up, so no one can see it on a piece of paper. And then we place those into a large crystal bowl that I will then sing, which energizes them all together. And whether you're into, energizing forces or just see it as, a camaraderie, there's something very tangible about the sound and the vibration itself. And because of the size of the bowl and the nature of being in a small group, you're not just hearing it, you're actually feeling that vibration. So that's, an interesting way to tie that together as well. During a journey, clients are almost always listening to a carefully curated playlist, like I said, that's designed to stimulate the experience but not direct it. Um, and then after the journey, depending on the situation and what the integration looks like, I might play sound bowls again, maybe part of a specific chakra visualization meditation where we breathe and into and visualize the chakras, and each chakra is assigned a different sound from a sound bowl to help guide that, energetic awareness of moving from lower in the body to, upper in the body or across the different chakra system. And all of those or I might also use different kinds of breath work. And we think of breath work as just moving air in and out, but many types of breath work have a specific sound component to them as well. Sometimes it's very obvious and sometimes it's really subtle. So with respect to sound, Yoga philosophy asks us in particular to tune into the resonance of sound. It's not just the hearing of it, it's what is it? What does it represent? What does it feel like? What's its origin? But the resonance level of it. And this is a concept broadly known as Vak in yoga philosophy. And it describes Om. I mean, this is where you'll definitely resonate with this, no pun intended. But Om, as we, frequently practice in yoga, that sound of is regarded as a fundamental sound of the universe, or even the sound of the origin of the universe. And when we vocalize that Om, or the seed syllables, which are often called Bij mantras, or when we constrict the throat to make that lightly snoring sound of Ujjayi breath, we create this resonance within our body. Like I said, it's not just an audible sound, but it's also a vibrational energy that we can feel. And apart from the mind-body focus and the embodied or somatic aspect of those things, I just want to report a few things that clients often, tell me or that I witness as part of with their journeys. And the one is that when they're in or coming back from a ketamine state, vibrational energy feels different. It's like it's energizing or harmonizing some sort of field within us, um, which is different than, I'm just feeling it physically. And that can be very meaningful. It can open things up or unlock things or lead to insight or emotional processing or emotional release. And sometimes it's, there might be a sense of, oh, that unlocked something specific, and other times it's very general, but it just moves those things along. And so that can be very powerful. Sound energizes the experience of the psychedelic space by stimulating the brain. Synesthesia is frequently reported, and sound plays this role that kind of moves things along or even provides a structure to the experience. And I mean that in not in a way that it guides the experience per se, but maybe gives it like a framework that then makes sense of kind of moving among spaces or things like that. Sound itself has healing properties. Like I said, it can bring an energetic release or coherence to otherwise noisy information from our environment or within our own psyche. Um, Clients will often spontaneously hum or make that Om kind of sound, even if they have no background with yoga. Again, I find that really interesting. Um, and then I'll just mention another thing too, just like Henry mentioned, the use of music afterward to kind of reconnect with that experience or that feeling within the body. I totally endorse that. I often recommend as part of clients' ongoing integration work that they work with these Bij mantras or the seed sounds or Om or other kinds of yogic breathing or sounds that they can use to anchor into their healing intention. Again, practicing that focus of mindfulness in the present moment and not worrying about the past or the future. And, connecting the mind and body with the purpose of healing. And all of these things can promote wellness and wholeness. And there's this just kind of unique power to sound that I don't fully understand, but am grateful for. Anyway, so just wanted to share some things that we see with our clients. I don't want to spend any more time with that other than to say, curious for those that are with us, what are your experiences with yoga and sound and psychedelics and any other questions you might have? And we'll switch gears now to our Q&A session. How's that sound, Henry?
It sounds great. Thank you.
Q&A time.
Yeah. Great. I'm really glad you covered that. Sounds very cool. I've been chanting a lot in my ketamine journeys
Hmm.
recently.
Yeah.
In place of the pranayama and the come up, it builds
Hmm.
the energy the same way. Deep diaphragmatic breath, and then long chant. feeling the vibration go down the body. And
Yeah.
then eventually I can't do it anymore. The medicine builds to a point where, at first I like notice almost from a distance that it sounds weird, it sounds
Hmm.
strange, and then it just fizzles out.
Hmm.
I don't really
Yeah.
consciously remember stopping, but
It
but
kind
the fact of building the energy like that during the come up makes it just really beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of like the solid rocket boosters on the rocket. They like you use them at the beginning and they help get you to a certain place, and at some point they just sort of detach and you're not even that aware of
Yeah.
it.
You're in space.
And then the mission is underway.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to put the little PDF. Thank you. Thank you. And this was a pleasure. So if you have any questions or you're practicing and would like any ideas, please reach out and we will, yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. All right. Good night. Thank you, Rob.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Henry.